At the Microsoft and Asobo Development Q&A held on the 2nd of February, we finally got an update on the Antonov AN225, one of the most recognizable aircraft in the world, and the world's biggest freight and cargo carrier, prior to it being substantially damaged in the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. Originally planned for release last year into Microsoft Flight Simulator, it looks like development has now more or less been completed, and we have some dates, although they are subject to change. For the PC, they're looking at releasing it on the 27th of February, and for Xbox, because it needs the WASM plugin, it'll be available at the same time as Sim Update 12. So we're looking at second or third week in March. The development has been undertaken by IniBuilds, with input from Antonov directly, and Cameron, one of the developers, gave us a run-through of what we can expect. And so I'll let him do all the talking. Some of the video is a little bit laggy, but not too bad. And once Cameron's finished showing us around this amazing aircraft, I'll provide further details at the end of the video. Welcome to the SimHanger channel. My name's Mark. Thanks very much for watching, and let's get started.
I mean, it's probably one of the most legendary aircraft in the world, and we've been able to bring it into the sim. And it's, as people were just saying about before, it's such a unique experience. So I'm going to start by going through the flight deck and just trying to give you an idea of scale. The scale of the plane is just unbelievable. So if I just start to pan backwards here, you can start to see the captain, first officer's seating position. And that's obviously normally where we would end. But we've actually got the engineers panel here, which has got a little bit of a kick out. This is this 90-degree panel is unique to the 225 as compared to the Ruslan. We've got some engine instruments here, and we also have a dedicated electrical engineer station. This really gives you an idea of the complexity of the aircraft, where this was one person's job, just to run the electrical system. Pretty amazing. If I then pan across to the other side, we've got the navigator station here and the radio operator. Often forgotten, as they say, the radio operator, but he's got an important job. And if I just pan back to the rear of the aircraft, you start to see really the size of this flight deck. It's just so impressive when you see it like this. We've also been able to model this sort of rear passenger area. So we go back here, and this is where the crew would rest. These are actually beds that pull down in flight. So this is where you can rest here, and they're kind of reminiscent of quite a lot of like cross benches, things like this. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to head downstairs in the aircraft. So this section of the aircraft is the only part that's pressurized. So this door, why it looks pretty robust, is because it has to hold the pressure back in flight. But we can actually head down the ladder just down here and take a look at the massive cargo area. Now, one thing I tend to do when I'm in here that's pretty funny is I kind of end the camera here because it feels like this is your natural head height because it's so big. But actually, it's all the way about here, which is pretty amazing when you just see the scale of this aircraft. It's pretty unbelievable. Incredible. You know, this floor here, you might see it's kind of got like you saw it in the trailer, really, really nicely illustrated. It's got a funny color. The first time I saw it, I was like, it doesn't look right. It looks kind of odd. And it's because this is solid titanium, which is pretty impressive that this whole floor can support up to a payload of 255,000 kilos, which is by far the heaviest load taken by any aircraft. It's almost 100 tons more than the second highest, which gives you an idea of where we're at in terms of weight. So I'm just going to quickly go onto the outside view here. This, I've made sure I've calibrated it again. This is kind of the head height for the aircraft. So this is what you would see if you walked up to the 225 during a walk around, and you see we've really, really tried to capture a fair bit of the detail here. You've got the pitot tubes, angle of attack, and the Antonov livery on the side here. It's got the very unique double bogey at the front. And I know quite a few people say, well, what is the point of that? It's got two reasons. Number one reason is to spread the weight of the plane, because all the airports in the world aren't designed specifically for the amount of weight. So they have to spread it across. So that's why they put those here. And it allows the unique kneeling function, which we'll take a look at shortly. If I just quickly move back here, you can see the 3 engines, so 6 engines in total. These are Motor Sich D18 engines, really powerful, 51,000 pounds of thrust each, which if you're trying to think of an equivalent, it's about the same as the CF6 engine. So in the A310, it's like having 6 engines from the A310 plus a bit more, which is pretty impressive. With the landing gear here, you've got the very unique landing gear from Maria. It's these rear three, which was really nicely illustrated in the trailer as well. They actually steer. So if you move the nose wheel to the right, they will steer to the left in the opposite sense. And this allows proper handling on the ground. And it was something during development. The first time I tried to taxi the plane, I thought, God, it's really hard to taxi. This doesn't seem right. And it's because in the flight model we didn't have the rear wheel steering set up. And when you set that up in the flight model, it actually is. It's not bad. It's actually pretty maneuverable, to be perfectly honest, for its size, for its actually just pure absolute scale of the airplane. I'm just going to go to the wingtip just to give you an idea of how big this aircraft is. It's such a monster. It's amazing. So one thing we were able to keep in the aircraft is it's a tribute, and also it's an important part of the airplane, is the data plate. Now the data plate comes on every single aircraft and every single Antonov aircraft as well. I'll just try and get a little bit closer, and you can see this shows all the information from the aircraft there, and it will be put on the new Maria, they've said, and it's survived. We've replicated it here on the aircraft as well. Here we have the APU. You might notice I said APU. We have two. Everything on the Antonov is big. There's more of everything. It's got more batteries, more engines, more everything. So there's one either side, and it's also at ground level, which is unusual, but it makes sense because they're trying to keep the weight as far forward as possible. On the tail, this is very unique. We have the double boom tail. So basically, rather than having the single fin, we've got it on the either side like this, and there's no fin in the middle. I'll move back around this side, and we'll shortly hop back into the cockpit because it's pretty much the same thing on this side. Cargo loading we're going to look at now. So I need to turn the power onto the aircraft. So here we've got the batteries. Like I say, there's more of everything in the Antonov. There's 5 batteries. So we're going to put them up into the automatic position, and this connects all 5 batteries up to the aircraft. Just turn on the transformers, and you can probably start to see why this is someone's job. it's pretty complicated, and I'm going to start up the auxiliary power unit quickly now. So one thing that we've done to try and make this a little bit easier to use for people is, if you notice, everything that's tooltipped, it's obviously going to be in its localized language, and everything that it isn't, like the annunciator lights, you can swap between Russian and English. So you can have it in the original, or you can have it in English, so you can actually see what's going on with the aircraft. So I'm just going to start that now and head back forward as well. While that's happening, I will start to try and show something we have here, which is the payload section. So we have different payload options that you can load through here, and on the ground configuration tabs, we can pick different things to load. So we have fire trucks, and these are loads that normally the AN124, the 225 took. And if you load this in, it actually adds the real weight into the aircraft, which is pretty cool. We've got helicopters. We've got a boiler. This is the heaviest load. This in itself is 183,000 kilos, and they carry quite a few of these. And I'll start opening the main door now. I'll just hop quickly back onto the outside. Now, for the cargo door, if I had this in real time, it would take about 6 minutes, which I think would probably be all the time we have. So we have an option in the EFB that does it fast, which is this mode here. And we have one as well that does it in the real time. So if you want, you can do it either way, but at the moment, this is the fast mode. The sequence goes like this. The forward door comes up, and you can actually, if you see here, it's kind of interesting. You see these little, we call them the ears. I don't know what they're actually called, but they kind of poke out to allow the door to swing all the way back like it does here. And then the next thing we're expecting to do is these little legs will come down, and then the door will drop down. And we'll load the cargo in. And I'd probably have been talking for too long. I could talk about this aircraft for days, so you'll have to stop me. Such an interesting plane to be involved with, because there are these things that, you know, when you look at a Boeing or an Airbus or all these different aircraft, you think, oh yeah, they do it like this. But in the Antonov, it's done a bit different. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. And then you start to learn, you go, oh, that's interesting. Okay, that does make sense. And here you go. You can you hear the hydraulic pump kick on. And now the whole aircraft is starting to tilt forwards with the main gear coming down at the front. And you can sort of start to see it happening like that now. And then the ramp will come down shortly. So, like they were saying, that you're 4 stories up when you're taxiing this aircraft, but when you're inside the cockpit here, you're actually enclosed completely by the nose, which is kind of interesting. We're expecting this to sort of stop shortly, and then the ramp should start to come down. But there are plenty. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, someone was asking about the sound. It has some awesome sound, but you just can't hear it in today's presentation.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the
Yes.
sounds we've taken them a lot from real references as well. So you can there's doors sounds, there's hydraulic pump sounds, there's ones for the APUs. Everything is in there, and it's all a really nice, authentic recording as well.
Awesome.
So now you can see the ramp going up, and we can quickly hop back into the cockpit. From what I understand, no, it's going to be just a single package, which is what you see here. So this is what we'll be offering across every platform.
Okay, nice.
And I absolutely love putting up the desk lamp here, and you can just sit there, look back, and it's like a mobile office. It's great.
Well, before you take off, Cameron, do you want to tell the story about you meeting?
Absolutely,
Antonov?
Yes, we were able to go down and meet Dimitri, and we were able to show them the aircraft as well. So we were able to get feedback from what they thought, what seeing the aircraft, and they really like the aircraft, because it's one of those things where to see it again in the sim is something else as well. And it's always great to be able to get feedback from the people. There's only a handful of people that have flown this in real life, and we were able to meet them, get interactions with them, and get feedback from them directly, which was, I mean, as you said before, he's a legend, and meeting a legend is always a great day.
If you'd like more details, including a guest appearance by Mr. Antonov himself, as well as information on the Next World Update, New Zealand, the Caribou of course, and another Antonov, the AN-2. I'll leave links to the Twitch stream as well as the YouTube video once it's available. The Antonov AN-225 will be payware, US dollars $19.99 on release, and your Newman also indicated Microsoft will not be retaining any monies from the sale of this aircraft. Final details still to be confirmed. Well, I hope you found this useful and informative. I'm very excited about the AN-225 and the AN-2. Are you? What's your feelings? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for joining me today. Stay well, look after yourself, see you again soon, and bye for now.